Hello, this video is not sponsored. I bought this set for $25 US on Amazon, but it looks like its regular price is $30. I did get it on a day when it was on sale. This comes with 751 pieces. It comes from a company that I think I've roughly heard the name of at some point. Tycole, I think is how it's pronounced, at least the Americanized version. But I've never gotten anything from them. Amazon recommended this just based on my viewing history. Now I was intrigued by what I saw, so I got it. The packaging is like really, really nice. Like this is a matte finish, and then you can see this is raised a little bit and has the glossy finish on. Like this is a proper retail product. I thought that it was going to be something super cheap, but it's presented nicely. It's about 11 inches or 11 and a half inches tall, around 29 centimeters. So there's a random minifigure for the sake of reference. So it's a good amount of stuff. And you can immediately see a couple, well, you definitely immediately see one thing. You probably pretty quickly saw something else. One, the gold on here. The gold finish is a nice painted gold. It's not a full electroplated chrome style gold, but it's a very, very bright and very, very metallic finish that's very consistent and looks very nice. The other thing you might have noticed is that the clock actually works. So there's an actual clock mechanism in there that's built into a brick style of housing. And there's also this thing on the back, this dial knob lever thing that you can turn to make the pendulum swing back and forth. It does tend to kind of lock up just a little bit, just from the way that the gears had to be attached, because they didn't want to have a whole lot of mechanism kind of blocking the gears that you can see inside of there. And just the way that standard brick style stuff works, you're going to be using axles with stoppers, or you're going to be using axle pins with no friction. And as a result, they're just not all that well located. When you turn this faster, it's fine. You know, once they get going, it's fine. But when you try to go real slow, it might just kind of, kind of do like that. It kind of slows down a little bit. Not the best feeling there. And I also personally don't like the use of the bright gold color for this crossbar. I wish that was done with just a black, so we would only just see this vertical one here. But, that's easy enough to swap out, I'm sure. They just kind of, they spent too much money here. They didn't cut enough corners. They spent a little bit too much on one of the parts there, one small thing. But you can see the face up here is very nice. Unfortunately, that does rely heavily upon stickers. So all of the filigree details you see around the edges here, that's all done with stickers. The sticker quality is very good. The face itself is also done with a sticker, just one single one before you put the hands on. They include an extra set of hands from the inexpensive clock mechanism that they include. This uses one single AA or LR6 battery, which is not included. You can set the time from the back. It even has a built-in alarm, and they have an extra hand for the alarm mechanism, as well as how to set that up. But by default, they don't have you activate that. This right here is also done with a sticker, and these little guys around the sides are done with stickers. These were a little bit annoying just because they're just so small, and there are a bunch of them. But look at just how bright that gold is, though. And it is pretty consistent. They did not really use any molded gold, injection molded gold. So consistency is actually very, very good. The consistency of the brown is pretty good. I can see a little bit of, it really depends on how the light hits it. Like where you're looking at it from the camera, this looks different, but it's mostly because of what light is reflecting there. Depending upon how the light hits it, it's not actually as bad as it looks like. To me, I can tell you, looking at this from many angles, from my own eyes, I don't see a lot of variation in the brown. You're actually seeing way more than I do, which is an interesting effect that the camera is picking up. It also uses a bunch of dark brown. Those are nice and consistent. And I felt like the manual did a good enough job of distinguishing between black, dark brown, and regular brown as I went through it. That's something that can definitely go wrong. It's something that can definitely be done poorly with these brick sets if the instructions aren't clear enough or aren't printed well enough. I just didn't have that problem with this one. As you can see, a lot of it is kind of boring to look at. Like all of this right in here is just, it's just a big kind of flat plane in between. The front, kind of the camera-friendly main angles, I think are good, but just right in between here as you move around to the side, that probably could have just used a little bit of, a little bit of indenting, just kind of split it up into 3 vertical panels instead. The build process was perfectly fine, but it is quite a few pieces for the amount of money that I paid, especially considering that some of it involves the electronic components that are custom fitted into this brick system compatible box right here with the door. So that's where the actual mechanism is right there. I did find that the battery compartment itself is a little bit on the the small side. So a rechargeable battery wasn't really working for me. I had to put an alkaline in because alkalines just tend to be a little bit smaller. That's more of a regional standards difference. I've encountered that for decades now with various things. Generally, newer things are better about that, but just something you might want to look out for if you happen to get something like this and you're having trouble putting the battery in. Also, you want to put the male side in first, the side with the little bit that sticks out, because there's a little overhang here, just a little thing that cradles it to keep it from falling out, which is interesting. But you got your adjustments there for the time and the alarm, and there's an alarm on-off switch there as well. But this whole thing here with the door on it has anti-studs on the bottom and regular studs on the top. And then all of this just gets attached with 2 studs on either side for easy access and for changing out the battery. I'm sure that a single battery will last probably weeks, possibly months. I'm not going to be able to test it within reason, but these things really don't draw a whole lot of electricity, but that's just it. I think it would be nice if it was set up so that you could attach a motor to this to smoothly run the pendulum. That would be a nice thing to be able to see automatically. It would be loud, unfortunately, no matter what, with standard brick system motors. And I think it just needs to go at least that fast. You can see that this is not getting stuck now. It's just when I try to go... Oh, wait a minute. Is it just one direction? Oh, maybe it's just one direction. I actually didn't test that in advance. Going this way. So right now I'm turning this clockwise. Clockwise. It's getting stuck a little bit. Turning the other way. Oh, going counterclockwise. Even when I go slow. There we go. All right. Just turn it counterclockwise. Learning in real time. We're doing it live, folks. Even when I go really slow. Okay. Well, there we go. So the problem here is that when you turn in one direction, it can get stuck if you're not going fast enough. But if you go the other way, then it's fine. All right. I'll have to check back with the manual to see if by chance there's something that I missed there. But overall, I mean, if you like doing life-sized brick-based models of real things, I love the fact that this is the real thing as well. And it's not that much more expensive than the real thing. I personally really get bothered when I see these brick-based things, especially from the big Danish brand. They cost like 3-4 times as much as just buying the real thing, especially like vintage stuff. You can just go to eBay and just get an old radio or something that maybe even works, or you can get a retro style modern radio that works really, really well for so much less than the price of a brick-based one that doesn't do anything except just collect dust. But here, the price has been kept low, and it also does the actual job of the real thing. I can't really ask for much more than that, other than just, like I said, just a little bit more detail going right down this center. But even if there's just a little block, like right in here, just something to break up that long flat surface. Amazingly, there were no spare brick parts, actually exactly zero. They had exactly the right number of parts, but they do give you a second set of arms for your clock mechanism. And you see I've got 2 of the yellow alarm indicator in there as well. It's nice that they included these because these are a little bit on the fragile side. That's just how those things are. It's a clock after all, and it's just little pieces of metal. This is what the sticker sheet looked like. So it's all clear backed stickers. They're easy enough to remove, and the vinyl that they use is soft enough. It's not totally soft where it's just flopping around, but it's soft enough that I really didn't have any issues with kind of guiding it. Even if I was slightly off, I could bend it a little bit and it just felt fine. So I'm going to back farther away from my job as content creator and person speaking to you on YouTube right now and just talk as me looking at this, just be really real with you, just relax, give you my thoughts. I think that something like this is, it's very, very novel. I don't think it's a very high concept novel thing. I don't find this to be like a premium collectible. It doesn't matter what brand it's from. It's just a bunch of bricks together to look like a clock. But at least this one actually is a clock too. And it's cheap. Like, it's inexpensive. Even at $30 in 2025, this amount of stuff feels fine to me, especially with how beautiful the gold is. If I were buying this for myself, I would leave these little stickers off and just do the important ones in here. That's it. If I were customizing this, if I really, really like this, really had a spot where I wanted to display it, I would replace a couple of the bricks here with ones with studs on the side, and I would just add like a layer of probably, what is it? Maybe a 4x6 plate right in there, and then cover it with tiles just to, like I said, just to change that up just a little bit. That's it. And then, I mean, hey, if you like this type of thing, hey, again, quality is pretty dang good and you're not paying much for it. So I think that this is fine. I really seriously get annoyed with things that are like this, that are ridiculously expensive, especially when people defend those ridiculously high prices. This shows you that you can do this sort of thing just fine and go way above and beyond the normal, the standard, actually make it function. And it's $30, 25 on sale. Not too bad. I would definitely be willing to try other products from this brand. Thank you for watching. Hope this was of value to you, and I'll talk to you again soon.